For coming today. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. We are going to do this training, so tell your foundation people we're going to do this training again online. We'll also be
microphone doesn't work.
Huh?
Hello?
Oh.
Hello? Is that better? Okay. Well, I usually
Your
talk
gain's
loud.
too high.
When you have a bunch of kids.
I got you. Go ahead.
I think, is that better? Okay.
Yeah, so turn your gain down.
Thank you.
Turn the echo
Hello, 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 hello. You're in the twilight zone. Thanks, Jim. Anyway, we're going to have training again April 18th, and they'll also be online. We're videotaping today, so there'll be an online training for your foundation team. So you need to get your president trained, as well as your foundation chair trained to do grants, and you'll hear more about that today. So I want to thank Scott Hendricks. He's our foundation chair for next year, and he will introduce his team and do our grants training. There's snacks in the back, so feel free to help yourself as well. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Angie. I'm Scott Hendricks. I'm the DRFC. If you've seen that's the District Rotary Foundation Chair. So we got acronyms for everybody. So okay, we're going to talk about grants today. This is grant training, official grant training, something you need if you're going to do a district or a global grant in your club. So I'm going to do a little short overview of the Rotary Foundation, and then Paul is going to talk about district grants, and John is going to talk about global grants. Okay? The good news is this is the last session of the week, so we'll try to stay on schedule, if not finish early. Okay, let's talk about increasing humanitarian service. This is the District Foundation Committee. Angie's our fearless leader. Our DGE and DGEN are new. Kurt is still sick, I think. He's had a rougher weekend than any of us. And then Jim Mall back here will be our new district governor in 2.5 years. 28, 29. Okay. I left his name off there. I don't know why. Okay, and our committee is broken down into funding, and we have a very important position open. That's the chair for the annual fund. If you are interested or you know someone who could do a great job in this area, please let us know, because this is a key position that we've got to fill soon. Endowment, polio, and then another new member is Carrie Steele, whose husband is PDG Dan Steele, is doing Paul Harris Society. Then we've got John and Paul on grants, Conrad Heed on Global Scholars. We try to get rid of Conrad every year, but we're unsuccessful. So if you know Conrad, you know what I'm talking about. He does a great job. Jim Quick, Peace Fellows. And then a new position that we filled this year is Karen McDaniels. She keeps us all honest and gets on us when we make a mistake. Okay, Rotary Foundation, doing good in the world. It was proposed. Remember, Rotary was started in 1906, I think, 5 or 6, 5. And in 1917, Arch Clump, who was an original member, was proposed that we form a foundation for doing good in the world. It was renamed the Rotary Foundation in 1928. It is supported solely by voluntary contributions from Rotarians or others who share its vision for a better world. Rotary International, or the Rotary organization, has 3 components. The first is clubs, probably the most important, because that's you and most of our members, and you're representing the clubs today. RI, which supports worldwide, coordinates grants, programs, etc. And then the Rotary Foundation, which we're going to talk about today, which helps fund humanitarian activities, local and global. We're going to talk about those in depth. The foundation, the Rotary Foundation's mission is to advance world understanding and peace through improvement of health, support of education, and alleviation of poverty. And its motto is doing good in the world. Now we're going to talk about the Rotary Foundation itself. There are 3 funds in the Rotary Foundation. First one is Polio Plus, which is about ending polio now or as soon as possible. The annual fund, which we'll talk a lot about today, that supports Rotary's work today, particularly humanitarian grants. And the endowment fund, which is to secure tomorrow. That's money that's donated for future use. Actually, the money that's donated is never used, only the earnings from that money is used. This is a busy chart that kind of summarizes that. Contributions can go directly to Polio Plus or disaster response, which is a relatively new area or fund, or you can go to annual programs fund share, which is the one that supports our grants, and the permanent fund. The share funds come back to the district. I'll talk more about that in a minute. After 3 years, and they're called District Designated Funds, or DDF. You'll hear a lot about that today. And that's where our grants are funded from. And on global grants, they're also funded from the World Fund. All those together are funding for the Rotary Foundation. It's a very crooked slide. Okay, let's talk about district designated funds. You probably heard that term a lot this week. It's really important. This is money that your club donated 3 years ago. So your donations to the annual fund come back to the district 3 years later. Okay? And this is not polio money. This is not money that goes to disaster relief. This is money that goes to the annual fund share. Comes back to the district, basically half of it, which means half of that goes to district grants and the other half goes to global grants. Okay? Very important point that club presidents need to understand. You can use your district grants, Paul will talk about it in detail, for whatever you want to do in your area. It doesn't have to be your area, but typically it's done within your local area of your club. Your global grant, because not many clubs do global grants, you can designate the money that you're allotted to go to another global grant. A new wrinkle we put in this year is that if you designate your amount of DDF for global funds to a particular grant, you also have to put in 20% of that amount as cash from your club. Okay? Everybody understand that? We just doing this year. And if you don't know what your amount is, Angie included that amount in your packet. If you don't know, if you lost it already, I've got extra copies here for anybody that wants one. It'll tell you every club's district designated funds. Yes?
So,
Go ahead.
so on the district side, do you have to match, or is it
Yes.
a 50-50?
Yes. If you're doing a district grant and your amount of money is $1,000, the club has to match that with $1,000. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
So I want to make sure I understand. You said if a club is not particularly going to use their funds, they can donate it back to a larger pot, or can they specify they want to partner with another specific club for a specific project?
Good project. This only applies to global grants. District grants you need to use yourself, but global grants, if you're not doing one, you can designate your amount to go to another project or another global grant. But you got to put in 20% of that amount in cash from your club. You got to have skin in the game, as we call it. And to do that, send me an email. Don't know if it's on there, but it should be. Yeah, send it to me and John so that we know. And when we meet in September, we will know who's designated their money to which grants.
And are you all allowed to do that partnership or collaboration with a club outside of your district, or do they have to be in your district?
No, you can actually do it to a grant that is sponsored by a different district. Okay? Yes, sir.
So what happens to the funds if they don't go to a global grant or a district grant?
Angie will use them. Don't worry. When we meet in September, we make plans mostly for the year on what we're going to do with the district designated funds that have come back to the district. We will allocate them to global grants. We can allocate them to global scholars. And generally, if there's money left at the discretion of the governor, they'll allocate that money to Polio Plus. That's what we've done this year.
Okay, follow up on that. So is that deadline the end of the Rotary year?
Yes, but we usually allocate all the money well before that. We will do the majority in our first meeting in September. We meet again in late November, December, and we'll allocate what's left, and generally we're done by then. So, no, you don't want to wait to the end of the year. You don't want to wait to the third quarter of the Rotary year. You really want to do it in September, because then your chances of getting what you want are very, very good. If you wait till after the first of the year, there's probably not going to be any left, or whatever's left is going to be allocated to Polio Plus. Okay? So that September deadline is really important. Really, really important. For example, if you're working on a global grant, get going, because you got to have it submitted by September or it won't be considered. Okay? District grants, you want to have those submitted by September as well. And if you do, and your amount does not exceed your allocation, you're pretty much guaranteed it's going to be approved. If you go later, like the third quarter of the Rotary year, you may have a problem, because we may be out of DDF for district funds. Remember, we split the district designated funds half and half between district and global grants. Yes, sir.
So you just mentioned September. I was having a conversation at breakfast, and they said something about having something by May. Where are all these deadlines and timelines available?
I've got a handout. Well, all of this information is on the district website. I'll talk about that. But if you go to the district website, you go to foundation drop down, there'll be district and global grants. And there's a page called highlights, which I've got some copies of that I can give you, that show all the deadlines and what you need to do before those deadlines. Okay? Okay. The only other requirement, like I said, 20% of your DDF, your club has to support that as well. And district designated funds that the committee allocates to a grant, there has to be an equal amount of money from clubs to match that DDF. Yes, sir.
Are the things we're going to do local and global, are those separate?
Yes. Local are typically district grants. That money is yours. Again, it's in the handout she gave you. You have to match it. But if you get your application in by September, it's going to get approved.
Okay, and so then there's a separate process if you think you're going to do something international.
Yes. Yes, very different. We do the reviews in September, but it's a very different process. It's a different set of, or pool of money, and it's a different process. That's a lot tougher, because district grants are administered by the district. We don't have to get approval from RI. Ultimately, we do, but it's a piece of cake. They don't put a lot of restrictions on what you do, how you do it, how much it is. Global grants are much tougher and have many more restrictions on them. So if you want to designate your DDF for a global grant, send me and John an email so that we have it by September and can take that into account when the committee meets. Okay? Quickly, other uses and other activities for the foundation are Global Grant Scholarships. That's a $40,000 post-grad scholarship internationally at a recognized university in a non-U.S. country. There's information on that on the website also. We have 3 Global Scholars this year. We've typically done 2, but we had so many great candidates this year, we decided to do 3. And we'll at least probably do a couple next year as well. Nothing else here we need to worry about. But global grant scholarships are really important, and we've had some great people that you may have heard from, or if you want to hear from them, all you got to do is contact Conrad Heed, and he can get you a speaker to talk about their experience. Another option is Rotary Peace Fellows. This is Jim Quick, who administers this, and it is about sustainable peace network of peace builders and leaders dedicated to preventing and resolving scholarships around the globe. This started in 2002. I think there are 7 centers where these people work and do their thing. We have had 6 alums that are Peace Fellows, and 5 of them, typically they go on to work in the area of peace with the State Department, other things like that. So, again, we've had some outstanding people there. Tough competition to get these scholarships. And we're always looking for candidates. So if you have a person in your district or your club that you want to nominate, contact Conrad Heed. Again, this information is on the website. And I think they decide in October. But you need to have your application in by September as well. Okay? The third area that's not grants is the endowment fund and major gifts. This is money that's invested permanently, and the principal's never spent. The earnings come back, some come back to the district, some are used for other things, great way to give, and they do a lot of work. And major gifts, you have to give at least $10,000. Okay? Let's see, what else? I'm not going to go through district grants because Paul's going to talk about that, or global grants because John's going to talk about characteristics and what they mean. This is the district website, foundation, pull down, district grants, global grants. Global scholars should be on there too. The third one is global grant scholarships. So all the things I've talked about are there on the website. Not everything is up to date, but we're working on it. With Richard's help, we're going to have that done before next Rotary year. Okay? Club presidents, what can you do to support the foundation? If you don't have a foundation chair and team, you should get one. Appoint somebody to handle this for your club. Go to district foundation training sessions like this one. Like Angie said, there'll be more in April. You can do it online, and it'll be this presentation because Richard is filming it, and he'll have it up on the website. Set goals for giving. Some of the 6 major goals that the district requires are foundation goals. Rotary Direct, really important. If you don't know what that is, you need to find out and you need to take advantage of it. We gave out copies of the QR code to enroll in Rotary Direct and I can't remember now, Friday session, I think. And I've got a few more copies here today if you don't. This is the way you can automatically, you or any member of your club can automatically donate to the foundation. You set it up on a credit card, withdrawal, you don't have to worry about it, it's automatic. It's as little as $10 a month, and really encourage you to do it. This is something we're really focused on this year because it's such an easy way to get continuing donations to the foundation.
Also, I'd like to add that if you do it with your credit card, you get your points, and Rotary doesn't penalize you for that too. So if you're going to give anyway, it's kind of nice to have the benefit of having your airline miles come through with your donations.
Good point. And that qualifies you for every Rotarian every year. You can even do it, if you do enough, you can become a Paul Harris Society member. It's a great way to do it. It's like any other automatic deduction. It's out of sight, out of mind, and it's automatic. Okay? These are the people that do these areas. Endowment is Janice Kane, Conrad does Scholars, and Jim Quick does Peace Fellows. Okay? Lastly, key events for this year. Angie mentioned the training assembly on April 18th, where we'll do this again, where if your member, your nominee, or your other didn't make today, they can do it in April. RILA is June 25th through 28th. Vibrant Workshop is April 15th. Polio fundraiser is in October, that's polio month, and we'll try to do some kind of district-wide activity, but we also encourage you to do some club level activity to collect funds. And then the foundation gala will be on November 7th. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, any more general questions on the foundation?
How much did you say the direct per month?
Minimum is $10 per month. Okay, you can do more. Okay.
You can do the math, divide 1,000 by 12, so about $83 a month. Your Paul Harris Society, you get a Paul Harris fellow every year.
Good deal, good point. Okay, Paul, you're up.